this is Jampa, and I thought he would be a good example to use about reading equine expression and learning to watch for and facilitate a release. So the horse is extremely expressive with their face and their entire body. Some of the things that we're going to be looking at while we work with him is the expression around his eye, the nostril, the jaw, the back. This horse is pretty expressive with his eyes and his nostril and jaw especially. A little background on this horse is that he initially appeared to be bomb-proof, and I put those words in quotations because in his case he was not actually quiet, he was just shut down. And that's really common in horses whose beginnings in life are rushed. Horses learn to deal with the stress that they don't find escape from by kind of going internal. And so when I first started working with this horse, he seemed to be fairly obedient, but he had a vacant expression. And then once we started getting through that layer, he actually became quite aggressive because he had some wiggle room, I think. Instead of being held down with an iron fist, he became quite aggressive. And then once we got through that layer, he became quite afraid because he didn't know what to do. And so now we're past the layers of shutdown and aggression, and now we're dealing with some fear. So while I work with him today, I'm going to show you how I work to facilitate him to release and kind of learn to understand all the little pieces that he hasn't really understood yet. How to read that a release is coming and how to help it come along. So all I'm going to do today is just some simple lunging circles. I'm going to start out going to the left because that direction is a little easier for him. And you can see that as soon as I started this circle, the breathing got a little shallower. His nostrils are flaring a little bit. If you look at the jaw, the tendons in the side of his mouth are tight. So he's doing what I asked, but if you read this expression, you can see that he's fairly uncomfortable. And now I see some slow blinking, which tells me that he's starting to feel a little bit better. His head and neck are coming down a little bit, which tells me that he's starting to feel a little bit better as well. And then I'm going to ask him to stop there, and I'm going to wait for a release. So the reason I stopped there, we have slow blinking. That tells me that a release is coming, and a release is a release of tension. So when I asked him to do something, his first thought was, oh, I don't know what's going to happen, and then there was worry, and then there was tension. So what I want to teach him, there's more slow blinking. What I want to teach him is that he can go through these things that I ask without tension. I don't want the tension there. I want him to feel very relaxed. And so I have to teach him how to get relaxed and start to reward that. So now we have slow blinking again. You can see that his muzzle's starting to twitch. That's a sign that there is a lick and chew coming. Maybe not immediately, but it's on its way. That's the jaw's way of letting go of tension. When a horse's jaw is very tense, their entire body is going to be tense. And so we certainly don't want that, especially when we're riding. So you can see that his breathing is getting deeper. I can tell by the sides heaving a little bit more. The nostrils starting to soften, his eyes soft, his neck is lowering slightly. So what might feel like, could take a long time is a really, really important part of this horse's training. Yes, we're just standing here and I'm just looking at him, but this is something he's never been offered before in his life. And if you watched my last video, you saw that he started out with quite a bit of tension. So for him, this is sort of life-altering. And sometimes if they're on the verge of a release but they're not quite there, you can ask them to move just a little bit and a lick and chew will roll right out. Let's see if I can stop him there. And this is the easier side. Blinks. There's a change in breathing. It doesn't always have to be a lick and chew, but if there's tension in the jaw, I really like for them to completely release that. Sometimes we get some head twitching. There's a lick and chew. So you can see that took a couple minutes, and that's the better side. So now we'll take a look at the right side. Whenever I work with a horse, I take a look at both sides. If there's more tension to one side, then certainly I really need to work on helping them in that direction as well. So as soon as he gets going, you see the jaw, the tendons in those jaw are like guitar strings. They get really tight. The nostrils start flaring. His eye gets a little more concerned. I'm looking for slow blinking. That tells me that it's a good time. I don't want to reward tension. So when he's tense, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to wait for there to be a slight change in his eyes, his nose. There's a little bit of slow blink. If you're just standing here looking at him, he's not getting any closer to releasing, then you might need to move on and try to find a better spot to wait for that release. But I'm seeing signs that he's starting to come down mentally. His head and neck are lowering. His muzzle is getting soft. He's got some itchy, head twitchy things. That tells me that his mind is working through it. It's really important for a troubled horse to learn that at each piece there can be a relaxation for them. Slow blink. It's not enough for me to get him to do something. I know he can do all these things. He's been ridden a lot in his life. But the fact that I can't ask him to circle to the right without quite a bit of tension in his body means we have a lot of work to do before I step in the saddle. There's a difference between a horse responding out of fear or worry or escape, and horse truly understanding what you're asking and feeling good about it. And that's something that I talk about a lot. There's a difference between lightness and softness. Lightness is a horse responding without a lot of need for tension. So you could, for pressure, you can teach a horse to respond lightly with a spur. You know, they learn pretty quickly that if they don't go, they're going to get the spur. So soon it doesn't take a whole lot of legs. That's a light response. But a soft response is a horse that is willingly engaged in and participating in what you're asking and is part of it with their whole mind and body. So if I ask the horse to go forward and they feel good about it, their response would be soft, not just light. He's getting really close, starting to feel a lot better. There's a big change in breathing right there. A horse that's always been worked with a lot of pressure will always need a lot of pressure to do those things. So that's why you go through all those layers with a horse like this, where initially they might be confrontational with you and say that now since you're not ruling me with an iron fist, I have some choices and I'd like to not do this, and so they'll show aggression or for lack of a better word, defiance in what you do. And you have to kind of go through that with the understanding that this is probably the first time they've ever been allowed an option. So they're not behaving badly. They're doing what they were taught. When flight is taken away, fight's the only escape. So a horse that fights has been taught to fight by people who have cornered that horse. And you can see how much longer it's taking on the right side. There he walked right off a lot more relaxed than he did the last time. The first two times I asked him to move away on a circle, his lips puckered right up and his jaw got really tight, and he's relaxing quite a bit more. These are coming quicker and quicker, all these little relaxation signs. The more you practice this, the more the horse can find it, and the more quickly they can come back to it when they get nervous. So even though right now we're just standing here on a beautiful sunny day with absolutely nothing disturbing us, if I'm riding him along and I've practiced this a lot with each piece, if something did get him bothered, he'll know this is available to him and he'll seek it out. He'll be able to come down faster and faster and faster. Whereas if I have a horse who only responds because I make him, when the you-know-what hits the fan, I have nothing to rely on. Because if we're honest, there's our lick and chew finally. It took several minutes, but it was well worth the time. We're at the mercy of their strength. And so if they don't feel good about what we're doing, then I'm really riding on borrowed time. And if I make him do stuff, he's going to come to a point where he feels so bad that he has to take care of himself with or without me. So lick and chew on the right side, which took, I don't know how long that was, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. The slow way really is the fast way, because once you start getting this rolling, everything gets a lot easier. I really don't mind coming out here and spending an hour or two just waiting for him to release. And the reason that I want you to learn to read expression is because that's your roadmap that tells you whether you're in the right direction or not. Because I can see from his expression he's making progress toward being relaxed. So I don't care at this point if it takes him an hour to lick and chew, because I can read on his face that he is starting to feel significantly better than when he started. Even though there was no bucking or running around or any of that stuff, if you know how to read expression, you could see that he was extremely tight. So if I were to ride him with that really tight lip and the really shallow breathing and the worry, that's his way of saying I don't feel good. Eventually that would accumulate into something explosive. And that's when people say, oh, he exploded out of nowhere. Well, there was always a sign. It's just some horses are more stoic than others. Some of them hold their tension differently than others. So you've got to get really good at reading your horse's expression and seeing what the roadmap on their face is telling you. Is it telling you wait longer, try something different? Slips are starting out soft. There's that lip twitching that comes before a lick and chew. You might notice your horse has a pattern that you can start to find. With this horse, it's the breathing, there's a lick and chew. Then the eye blinking, his blink will get really slow, then his lips will twitch, and then he'll lick and chew. So, we spent, what, 15 minutes?
Like 25.
25 minutes. We've been out here 25 minutes, and that's how long it took to get him to feel really relaxed with me on the right side and the left side going around me in a circle. So today it took a long time, tomorrow may take a long time, but in the future these will come really quick and they'll make a big difference for this horse's life. Thanks for watching.